All right, let's get started here. Today is Friday, March 11th, 2022. I've already kind of went through my pre-trading rituals, I guess you could say. Checking the market, what happened, um, all that good stuff. Looking at my 50 tick chart, 10 tick, 30 tick, simplicity chart. Let's see. I refreshed my dynamic magnets and mini magnets. I'm sorry, dynamic magnets and flux levels already, but I'm going to do that again. Never hurts. So look at this. You can see yesterday, hit this dynamic magnet, came down, hit it again, and then in the middle of the night, well, no, that was a couple hours ago, got a big spike up. It is currently 8:29 a.m. Eastern Time. So, okay, refresh. We have a little move upwards. There is a simplicity long. Now it is at the top of a recent top here. If you look to the left, there's a recent top. Not much on the 30 tick to obstruct, but on the simplicity chart, we definitely want to see this break. Now, yeah, you want to see this move further up. Let me show you on my simplicity chart here. Okay, we got the simplicity chart. Now, if you look left, actually, let me expand this a little more. So now we got a red eye zone here. Well, no, that's probably because my chart moved back. Okay, so if you look left, just a little bit, this was the top here. See, it was the top, came down, so it's kind of a little range here, a little zone, and it just made it right back up to that top, exactly. So now it's come down, and technically this would be an LRE because it's a simplicity long, but I like my simplicities to go up further before it pulls back. Like this. Let's see. No. Yep, you got a long up here above the wall. So it didn't go very far. It went up here, pulled back, and then you would have had to go 74. You'd have had to, it would have been right back up to this dynamic magnet for a winner. It would have won, but it's not one that I like because it's in this little zone here. Let's see. And I usually don't take the first thing I see if I just got started. Um, and if you look here on the 10 tick, in this area, when it hits this dynamic magnet here, it kind of does a nice little chopping around. You got a dynamic magnet, a wall. Not too much below is a flux level. So also, let me pull over my 30 tick chart. Right at that level, there was a mini magnet on this wall, strong level. When it broke, look, we got double clusters on this wall. It laid a mini magnet right below the wall. So it's telling me this little area right here could be kind of a chopping area. So I want it to run up or down, get out of this little zone. And the 50 tick chart, it just kind of broke out of a choppy area. pull over this 50 tick. So we had a lot of bars chop on this 50 tick. Look at that. We got tighter devs. So the market's not expected as much movement, but we're already up plus 7.7 dev. You know, it went all the way up to the 1 dev. And then see this area when it comes back down, 4 bars chop, up 4 bars chop, down, what's that, 6, 7 bars chop? So be careful in that area. I would like it to run down some more. But we'll see what happens. Check on NQ right quick. Mm. It's not. Well, my NQ room chart isn't working. For some reason, it's not loading. Let's see if my YM is. Oh, I was logged out of my room chart. So, let's see. I'll have to. Well, I won't worry about those right this second. All right, so just waiting for it to break out of this little zone. That's really all I'm doing right now. I'm not in a panic, nothing like that. I really want it to go above this, somewhere above this mini magnet or below this deviation level. Now, YM, I've been lately on YM because it's with my trade setup that I take, the type of trade that I take, the LRE, it has been giving very good signals for those and very high win rate. So that's why I've been taking those, or on Y. That's why I've been trading on YM. NQ has been normally what I'm trading, and NQ is faster. It's going to give more signals, but you could get right now the way NQ has been spiking. My 5-point hard stop has been challenged a bit lately. They still work good as long as you have confirmations that the pullback is going to go back in your direction, you know, like a HD with it, ODD with it, a level it's bouncing off of, something. They're still very good. It's just sometimes if the market's moving too fast on NQ, a little spike can hit your stop and go back down to win. So what I'm seeing with YM, and YM is not that good to do simplicity trades. Now, maybe if you want to do a simplicity trade and just like scalp the simplicity for 20, 30, 40 ticks, you know, sometimes they go for a little more if you have a nice target, but you're not going to get the huge, you know, big runs like NQ. So it's not the best for simplicity unless you're just going to go for some quick little targets. But what I'm finding for LREs, this YM acts very well, especially because the stop you have enough room to, I mean, 20 ticks, because YM doesn't move as many ticks as NQ, so 20 ticks it gives you pretty nice room on YM that I've been finding, um, wiggle room for the market to go down in your favor or whichever direction. So, but you're not going to get as many setups. Um, you're just not, and it moves a little slower. Now, right now, it is moving a little slower than normal, and it's hitting. We are in a little chop area, so just have to wait. Just have to wait. And like I said, I always say, my trade sessions are maximum about an hour long pre-market. That's when I trade, and sometimes it takes 10 minutes to get my trades. Sometimes it takes an hour and I don't get any trade. But as long as you're reading the market, trading well, then that's all that matters. You know, that's really all that matters, because the worst thing you could do is force these trades. Daryl, Lori, everybody with Apex always says you're paid to be patient, which is so true. Can't agree more. If you get in that rush, you get antsy. Oh, I'm sitting here for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and nothing's going on. Then you see what looks like, oh, this might be something. And you take it, and it loses. Then you'll feel bad. Today's Friday. You don't want to go into a weekend. See, there's a difference going into the weekend, any day really, but especially the weekend, losing that day, if it's something stupid that you did, you know, because if I take a trade that I don't like because out of being bored, and I'm like, oh, this looks like it might be something, and I take it and it's dumb, you know, it doesn't work, and I'm like, man, that was a bad trade. I go into the weekend like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And trust me, I've done all this before. I'm speaking out of experience. It's a bad feeling, and then you're just waiting for Monday, waiting for Monday, waiting for Monday. Or you can't wait long enough, so you say, you know what? Sunday night, I'm gonna see if I'm gonna get something Sunday night. And then Sunday night market's bad. And you do the same thing. Then Monday comes, now all of a sudden your drawdown is getting your accounts down, and you just spiral. That's what I call spiraling. You want to at all costs avoid spiraling. It does not go well with trading. So we are in a simplicity short, but like I said, this area I want it to break because we're in this tight range. Again, YM is going to be tighter, so you're not going to have as big of a pullback or as big as a run as NQ, as you know, if you've seen any videos I've done on NQ. So you're not going to have as big. So you got to keep that in mind, but you still want to watch these zones. Watch these zones. Because this, you know, it's a little zone here that you got to be careful of. If I try to take this simplicity, the simplicity short was right below this flux level. So it was like right here was the entry. So if I took this as a short, I can't expect, I mean, I hope it breaks the dev and keeps going, but I can't expect it to, because it hasn't done that yet. And it hasn't proved to me that that's what it wants to do. And there's a mini magnet on the 30 tick right below this dev. Actually right here to the left where this one is. And you see on the 10 tick, it hit that mini magnet, laid a clustered, bounced up. So could this be the time it breaks? Maybe. Could it bounce and head right back up? Maybe. So we just got to wait and see. What I would want it to do is to break this, run down about, I mean, we have a ZOI on the 30 tick about down here around 355, 357. But then we have this flux. So I would like it to run down around this area, maybe bounce back somewhere around this area. Bounce back up and test this 414 level with an LRE entry to go back short. That would be very nice. I would like that. So, but if it doesn't, if it can't break and it bounces up, I want this to run up higher to around this area, come back down and test this mini magnet to give me a long LRE. Does that make sense? Do you see how I try to pinpoint areas where I would like things to happen. 100% doesn't mean it's going to happen. But if you're prepared while you're sitting here trading, now granted, this is pre-market right now. It's 8:44 in the morning, so it's really, really slow. But even, well, anyways, whenever you pinpoint these areas like this, you already have where you're looking to enter. So all I do and that's why I look at this 10 tick chart, because I have on here, okay, this is what I would like to do. This is entries where I would like. Then I just wait for the simplicity chart to confirm that. So if this does break down and starts pulling back up, then I look at the simplicity chart to confirm that I'm going to get an entry there. And if I don't, well, then I don't. Or if this keeps running down and pulls back up somewhere, then I'll look for another LRE entry. But in the immediate time, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Same thing with the long direction, like I mentioned. So, and what I was going to say is that, during when the market's open, yes, it's going to be a lot faster. So you do have to see these zones faster and these things. But if NQ, for example, is too fast at the open at 9:30, maybe don't trade from 9:30 to 10 in the morning unless if it's slow enough for you. Or maybe trade on YM. If it's too fast, don't force it, because if you can't get a market read, you don't want to force it. That's when you make mistakes. So that's my opinion anyways. Some people can read the market really fast. They like it to move fast. I'm kind of in between. I do like it fast. Too fast though, I sit out. I sit out. And that's also why I do like LREs as well. Not only because of the money management aspect of it, but because, for example, now, if this gives me an LRE short, which by the way, the simplicity line's just crossed, so we got a reset here. So if this breaks down, we might, it might give a short below this, which that would be, I would want this to come down lower before I get in a simplicity to confirm. See, for my LREs, the simplicity short will confirm we're in a breakout here. And the LRE is a retest of that area. Or if it just keeps going, the LRE is just a pullback. But I wait for this simplicity to confirm it's broke out and it's going. Because see, if you would have taken a simplicity up here where I said there was one, like I said, you can't expect it to break this. Because it hasn't. Like Mark Douglas says, if this, at this point back here, right here, this tick, nobody else in the world believed that it would go one tick lower, because it stopped right here and went up. So if that's the case, when it's coming back down here, if 20 minutes ago, nobody in the world believed it was going to go down further than that, what makes me think it'll do it again? That somebody believes it'll come down further. So I have to expect that this might go back up. And if it breaks out, well then, now we have a breakout. So it came back down, went up a little bit, now it's got the momentum to start breaking out. So we're at the 33,400 level. Leaving?
Double cluster YM.
So, oh, my chart moved, tell me. It is trying to break out. He's trying to give us simplicity short now. It's got a form of ODD here, as you can see. It was coming down, little pullback. Coming down is 39%. So I do keep that in the back of my head. I take that into account, saying, well, if it does come down and hit this mini magnet and it's in an ODD state and pulls back, I want to be cautious because that might signal that it's going to come back up. We got double clusters here, but we're technically not even in a simplicity short yet because it reset. There's a simplicity chart. You see back here was that simplicity early entry that I was talking about right under the flux. Came down, reset because the lines flipped green. Broke down. Now it's testing this deviation level here. Not sure if it really wants to go. Has not given a simplicity short yet. So I'm going to leave this chart right here to see first if it gives a simplicity short, because that's what we need before we can take an LRE. We need a valid simplicity short.
Double cluster YM.
Let's see. All right. See what happens here. It's wanting to, I mean, it might just chop a little bit more. Actually, while this, I'm going to go ahead and get my room charts back up. Oh. While, eh, while we're waiting on the market, that way I can see what NQ is doing. Let's see. Just going to log in. And so on these trading sessions that I'm doing, I'm really trying to talk out loud kind of what I would be thinking in my head while I'm trading. Because I mean there is a lot of this waiting. And just so happens the last couple days are more of this waiting game. You just have to be patient. Again, as always, have to be patient. All right, let's see. Is this mine? That's ES. Okay, let's see what NQ is doing up here. got some movement on NQ. Liquidity's, yeah, like that's a little low liquidity bar. I mean, it's low. It's not as bad as it was yesterday, but the issue, too, whenever it moves, so here's another thing. One second, let me do something here. So here's another thing to keep in mind. When the market moves overnight so much, I mean, let's see, YM moved from settlement overnight. It had let's see, like a 500 or so point run. So, I mean, that's a big move overnight. 500 points is like between 600 something. I'm not measuring exactly, but that's a big move. So when you have a move like that overnight, pre-market right now, it's gonna be slow. And to be honest, I might not get another trade this morning. I didn't get one yesterday. Might not get one today. And that's the way it goes sometimes. Let's go backwards and see what happened overnight. Maybe I'll just do a little review here while we're waiting. So we had this short. This wasn't even, this was at 7:30 in the morning. Early entry short here, or there's one back here. Short, here's a down, comes down. Okay, here's an LRE entry right here. 33,517, so that means we need it to go to 97 for a profit. Comes down here, one tick away, so maybe you would have taken profit at that point. If anything, moved to break even. Did a little pullback, went down, so that was a winner. Here's another one. Came up, dynamic magnet, enter LRE right here, 478. So it needs to go to 58 for a winner. Right there, winner. It's two LREs in this one downtrend. And, well, that brings us pretty close to where we are now, so I didn't go back far enough. But you can see just, a little bit right here, there's two LRE winners. This is a nasty, choppy mess. Choppy, choppy, choppy. Choppy. You want clean runs. Nasty, nasty, choppy. Here was that big spike up over in the morning. Whenever you have a big spike up on news like this, shot up, yes, it's a simplicity long, but I'm not really wanting this pullback here because it could just run all the way back down. We don't know if the news is going to sustain its position. If you did take it, 483, you'd need to go at 503. I mean, 20 ticks right here, you would have won. But here's another move short. Okay, here's a short. You could have an LRE here. 296. So 76 is your winner. Down here, you would have gone through a debt, so not sure if you would have taken that one. Same thing here. Now let's see if this one would have won if you'd have taken this one. Now I'm not looking at the 10 tick right now to see if um if I would have taken it or not, but just the simplicity chart. So 13, it would have needed to gone to 33. So no, that would have been a loser. Here, we would have had a winner. So I mean, there's winners all the time. Okay. Now we have a breakout. We do have a simplicity short. So I'm going to move this out of the way here. Actually, maybe I can just leave it there. Since I already know what's going on. So now it's breaking out. We have a simplicity short. Here's a retest. I would like a LRE here, up here, at about 400 or a little bit higher actually. I would like it up here. Let's see, where's our entry? Entry simplicity would be here, 408. So yeah, this would be a pretty good little area for a LRE. If it comes up to about 403, it's 8 a.m. Or I'm sorry, 9 a.m. I'm in Central Time. So sometimes it could do funny things at 9 a.m. You can get those spikes. So let's see what happens here. Yeah. See, it's kind of, when it starts jolting like this, I kind of wait a little bit because I always say at 9 a.m., new traders come in and you can get a bit of a spike. So I don't want to jump in something and regret it. Especially we kind of started going sideways here for a bit. Well, some chopping. Now it laid a little mini magnet here on the 10 tick. And to take an LRE, I'd have to come all the way back up to here. I mean, that's where I'd kind of want this LRE to be, up here anyways. But I don't like the choppiness in these big spiking bars right now. I do like that it has HD though. So if this comes up to about 410, I'm going to take it. Just because that was that previous resistance point with that mini magnet on the 30. And I have HD going for me right now. All right, I'm going to get in. And we see that
Order submitted.
my profit is down here at the bottom. So if it gets close to my profit here, I do want to be cautious that it might not hit it since it's right at the bottom. So I do want to manage it well. And I want to be careful. I mean, this isn't the most ideal LRE for me because it didn't run as far as I typically like it to go. We had a little bit of chop right here. I just like in this area is where it was previous resistance, strong resistance. Or I'm sorry, strong support. Now it might be resistance. But see, got to be careful now. These simplicity lines have flipped and it could fail. So if this bar closes above the red solid line here, then what I like to do sometimes is I'll move my stop. Like if it closes above and then drops down, I'll move my stop to the top of that. So I'll take less of a loss. And I usually like to grab my stop here and just hold on to it in case if I need to, do anything. I do like we have 200% HD there. I mean, I just don't like the chop. That's the only thing I don't like is that little bit of chop we had. So, and then also I typically like to, when this gets to around 15 ticks or so in the profit, I typically like to move to break even just in case if it goes backwards on me. And this is the chop too. So I gotta, expect it might struggle. So I'm cautious right here at this point. Let's see, what do we have? And YM moves slower too, so I gotta, keep in mind this could take a little longer. It's hitting this cluster on 10 tick, right at that choppiness. So let's see if it wants to come down and hit my profit target. Okay, now I'm gonna move to even. Well, hit my profit before I moved even. So that's one winner. I did
Target
copy that
filled.
across multiple accounts. This PA, as you can
Order
see,
filled.
I'm only on one contract. This is a brand new PA. So um, I'm on one contract on it. And I'm gonna go into my money management in another video where I explain when I increase the contracts, how many contracts I start off with, what size account, because certain account sizes I don't start with one contract, I start with more. So I'll go into that in another video. So now if you look here on the 10 tick, we have ODD forming at this flux. So we want to be a little cautious if we were going to do anything. Wow. But right now, so in my trade, okay, let me pull over this 30 tick chart so I can show you exactly what my market read was. Because you might be looking, because a lot of people know my rules, my personal rules. If it's simplicity, if you get a short, I don't like to take my entry, which I actually got in. I'll have to look at this video again, but I don't know if I got in too early or if I got a bad fill. So I need to look at that.
Potential
Because see,
TX on YM.
my entry, if I got in on this, I think I got in,
Trapped orders with exhaustion box
I
on
should have got in up
YM.
here. So I don't know if that was my fault or if it was the liquidity's fault. So when I review this video, I'll see. So that was kind of a bad fill there, or a bad entry. So anyways, the reason why I got in, I don't like whenever my my LRE entry is behind my original simplicity entry or at it. I just don't. I like simplicity to run further. So let me show you why though. In this situation, I took this trade because the 30 tick, this was a strong support here. Okay, we got the dev, it hadn't broke it based on the 10 tick, it hadn't broke it multiple times here, and we had this mini magnet. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, I would like it to break out, come back and test this to go back short. And that's exactly what happened.
Double
And
cluster
that's why I
YM.
took it, even though I like my simplicity trades to run further. It came back and tested it to the tick almost. Let's see, it came all the way back up to 412. It tested that mini magnet exactly on the 30 tick. Touched that mini magnet and then came down. So technically, like I said, my entry should have been up here, which was about 410, like how I wanted it. So I don't know if that was my mistake where I
Double
got in,
cluster YM.
hit the button wrong, or if I got a bad fill. So I'll see whenever I review this. Okay, so now, and then it reset too. It reset. So like I said, since it reset, if any of these bars would have closed up here above this solid line and then started heading back down, I would have moved my stop to right up there to take less risk. But now it went down. Now it's given another simplicity short. It's hitting a ZOI on the 30 tick, so I'd kind of want it to break that. So let's see if it breaks that. Let's see. Because technically, these two were angling down. It gave another entry where my exit was. But right now, because we're hitting a ZOI on the 30 tick, literally right here at this tick, to this tick. So I'm not taking any type of LREs right here to go short. I'm waiting for this to break, run down further here, then come back up and test that ZOI again to give me a short. I'd prefer that. Let's do a liquidity check. It's not bad. This bar was pretty decent. I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad. So shouldn't have any issues getting filled. Because my trades, my LREs, if you can see, I do market orders. All right, now we're trying to bust that ZOI. Let me bring that over. As you can see, there's the ZOI. I would like it to bust. To break that and come back up and test it and give me a short. And then also, like I said, on this one, you know, we had 220% HD. HD, if you don't know, is when it's trending down, pulls back up, well, trends down, pulls back up, and 220% of the last pullback. Now you have to have two pullbacks. It can't be the first one. It can't just be down and up. You have to have two pullbacks. So here went down, a little chop, a little up. No HD because it's 110. It has to be 125% or more. A second pull, another rundown, second pullback, 59%. Went down further, a third pullback, 220%. So what that means is it pulled back with 220% more of the contracts in this pullback than back here and couldn't even make it, you know, halfway back up. So that's a good indicator that's called HD, that this is going to come back down. We have a flux level here is a nice little target. And then, of course, an LRE lined up with it. So that's a good sign. Now, as you can see here, simplicity is sideways. I do not like when it's sideways. I want this to break down lower, come back and test that to give me a short. And you see how if I'm looking at these areas, pinpointing where I want these things to happen, I can sit here calm and relaxed and just wait. Wait to see if it happens. If it doesn't, it's that simple. If it doesn't, I'm not taking a trade. If it does, then I take the trade and hopefully it wins. So I want to come on down a little bit. Where is this? So the dynamic magnet's there. So if I can get this to come down about halfway towards this dynamic magnet, but not quite hit it, I just wanted to break that ZOI on the 30 tick. Because I don't want to have to take an LRE through that ZOI. I just would prefer not to have to do that. Now, remember, the market opens at 9:30, so at about 9:25, we call it the dark zone where we don't take a trade. All right, let's see. We're getting, now it's broken the ZOI. It's gotten down to about where I would like it to be. I would love an LRE right up here. So if this bar, yeah, like right in this area. Now it hasn't broken. I want to make sure my profit is before that dynamic magnet though, because we haven't broken that. 54.34 would be my target. It'd be right at the dynamic magnet, so right now an LRE would be at about 60. If this bar closes in 2 seconds, then it's going to be here, about 58. Which that's still where that ZOI hasn't broken that ZOI very well. But we got a cluster there, so maybe let's see what we have. We don't have any reversal bar yet on the 10 tick, so we'll get one if this gets up there. This, I mean, it got real close. 55, 58 here. See, this is pretty tight. I don't have a reversal bar right now. So I don't love that there's not a reversal bar because it's not giving me enough read. And it is right above the ZOI. So I'm not going to take this one actually. It might win, but I don't like that it was too tight for me. Because see, the entry would have been here, 58. And I mean, it would have been basically you just need a coil chop for this to win. I skipped it because look here, 58. We just broke this ZOI. 58, my entry would have been here, and I would have had to come down to 38 for my profit. So I'm just, yeah, it hasn't really shown me that it's gonna move away from the ZOI yet. It could, but I mean, we barely broke the ZOI. If it would have ran down further and came back and gave me an entry on the bottom of the ZOI instead of above it, I would have liked it a lot better. That's how picky I am. But it works. So, and look, let's see, 58. I mean, oh, yeah, see, I would have been a little disappointed if I would have jumped in this. So 58, 78 would be the stop. Wouldn't have gotten stopped out yet. 78, stop is way up here. But it would not be looking good. So in this scenario, if I would have got in here, it closed above, right? And came back down a little bit, so I probably would have put my stop right up here, tightened up right here, just in case. Especially with these lines simplicity flipping on me. Does that make sense? So if it closed here, the line was red at the time, right? And then as soon as a bar closes against me, against the direction I need on the other side of the solid line, if it closes there and goes down, then I move my stop to the top of that. So I tighten it, right? Take less of a hit. So I'd have been out there. It would have been 4 tick loss. You could stay in and risk it if you really see something you like and you think it's going to go down, because your normal stop would have been up here and you'd still be in this trade and it very well could come down and you make profit, or you could just take a quick 4 tick loss and move on to the next one versus risking 20. That's your choice. In the scenario that this does not pull back down, it closes up here and then it starts heading up. I mean, if there's nothing else telling me that this is going to bounce, I mean, we have a flux level here, so I could bounce and come down. But you could just go ahead and close this with a less than 10 tick loser because it's not looking good, to be honest. Especially if you got in, you're like, oh, it was in the middle of a ZOI and this and this and that. Then you just close it out and wait for the next one. Because what you don't want it to look like this and then come down and win. Because more often than not, it's going to end up losing. Once you get, it's in a simplicity long right now. So if you're still holding this short and there's a long trade against you, like now, boom, you would have been out. You would have lost. That's a bad feeling. Cut it short, 4 ticks, 8 ticks, and then you could have hopped in this long and made it back already. See what I'm saying? That's what Daryl does. I mean, he's a genius. He kills it because he cuts his loss so quick and hops in the other direction if there's a trade, and he recovers it immediately. Look, if I'd have cut this short 4 ticks, when this long hit right here, hop in, and we've already recovered that. Now, I'm not saying this particular trade I would want to do that and hop in long. I don't. I mean, I'm not seeing that I would really want to run this up, but you got to be ready to do that. All right, we are approaching 51 minutes here. It is 8:20, so that is my time. I'm done. I'm done for the day. I got one trade. Um, market was slow again, but at least I got my one trade in. I got halfway to my tick goal. That was 20 ticks. My target is 40 ticks. So, all right, everybody have a great day.